only hours away, my brother Brody, and look at him in that pretty little blue jersey, brother. How you feeling? How you you very confident, obviously, coming into tonight. Great Blues team running out there, so you should be very confident.
Confident, nothing to lose, one up. You know, happy to take the series to New South Wales and wrap it up there if we need to, but pretty confident we'll get it done tonight.
Yeah, you should be, brother. You should be. Guys, just quickly going to summarize the show. We're going to be touching on a couple of little things of the weekend that was. Then we're going to jump over to our Team of the Weeks and all our little segments that you guys absolutely love. Moving over to finishing off with our weekend previews, with our State of Origin previews, touching on a couple of little, the under-19s, the under-20, under-19s, women's and men's, and then finishing with Supercoach as always. So guys, make sure you chuck in your questions tonight. It is a live stream, so chuck it in while we're going right now, and we will answer all your questions, especially Supercoach, at the end of the show. So you ready to get into it, brother?
Ready to go, brother.
As always. All right, we may as well start off with, I'm going to call it the biggest news other than all the bullshit that's going on around with State of Origin right now. Rugby League 26 is going to be out very shortly, bro, till July 17th. Are you excited? What's your plans around this? And what feature are you looking most excited to be playing in Rugby League 26 this year?
I think my plans around this, brother, is to be calling in sick for a week and then jumping on just so I can find out who's OP on the game and get ready to smoke you like old times.
This disgusting. I'm so happy Josh Morris and Brett Morris have retired so this brother cannot tear me up. But there is a pro team feature apparently coming away, bro. So if you've played Ultimate Team on FIFA or anything like that, it looks like they will be doing Legends cards and that. So I swear to God, if there's Josh Morris.
Happy days.
Oh, bro, I swear to God.
I found if I found it a little bit weird that Super League was the main ones to share that.
Me too.
I was like, is it legit? Is it not legit? Do they know something we don't know? Are they getting it before us? I found that really weird because, you know, they're not as big as us. Well, they are, I guess. Their crowds are huge, and it's massive in England. But like, why were they sharing it, but not the NRL? I don't know if they didn't want to cast light away from Origin, but you know, they could have put Origin spin on it and made it big news. But I'm just not too sure.
I'm guessing there could be a couple of things.
Shout out to Chris.
Chris has already jumped into the chat straight away. We love it, brother. We definitely will get to all the weekend stuff and that. But yeah, bro, honestly, it could be a couple of different things. It could be them screwing up their marketing. Maybe like the Super League wasn't, well, they're not supposed to put it out there until maybe after Origin. Maybe their whole plan was to do a big reveal around Origin, which the most eyes are on Rugby League, which would make the most sense. Maybe Super League screwed that up. I do know that the Trinity, what's the name of that? The Trinity, they play in the Super League. They were the first ones to leak that their face scans and stuff to say Rugby League 26 was coming out. So maybe there's a little bit more at play that they're focusing on Super League for some reason. I'm not too sure why. But I probably sway into way of like maybe Super League jumped the gun a little bit instead of their plans of like releasing around Origin time to showcase the game a little bit. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I just found it a bit of a strange one. That's all.
Yeah, it's very similar because I'm pretty sure usually 2K and Madden usually they do their big ones on All-Star weekends or like Super Bowls and that to kind of show off the game. I think that would be the way to go. But my question with this game, bro, as I touched on just before with the pro team feature, you know, hopefully they bring in the legends into the game, like as many legends as we want. What is the one legend that you want to pack in your pro team to take on online? And don't say Josh Morris. No, I know we just touched on that, bro. But what is the one name? I already kind of have an envisionment of the name you're going to say here, but I want you to throw it out there.
Yeah, look, Ben Barber. But other than that, probably Greggy Inglis, bro, would just be a beast.
Give me your dream spine, actually, because I've got my spine. What would your dream spine be maybe in the game?
In the game?
And don't say it's like got to be the best spine, but the spine that you would most likely fall in love with, that you'd play in week in, week out.
Benny Barber at fullback.
Yep.
Probably Isaac Luke at hooker.
Well, I like it.
For like the rugby league game on like his ability to break tackles and his defense and stuff on that game was OP. 5'8", probably Cam Munster.
I like it.
And 7. I don't know for a 7 at this stage.
Sherwin. Get out, Sherwin.
Nah. It was probably
JT.
Yeah, probably JT for his goal kicking, in all honesty.
I was saying this on WhatsApp TV last night. So mine would be Sean Johnson for sure, number 7. If they had a prime Sean Johnson card, my 6 would be a Darren Lockyer. I'd love a Darren Lockyer at 6. My 9 would probably be like a Cam Smith or something like that, I guess. Just like classic, nothing, And then probably looking at number 1, Carmichael Hunt. I want a Carmichael Hunt card. I don't think there would be, because I don't know if he's in that legendary tier that people would put into a game. But if there was to, like, he was one of my favorite players growing up. So,
are you talking about like overall cards? I'm talking about like who I want to control and is going to score me points.
No, bro, that is like, so the cards that you get into packs and you play them out against other players, other teams.
Trust me, I would control those 4 guys I said a lot better than the 4 guys that are probably GOAT in those positions, in all honesty, just because I know like the game overpowers like tackle breaks and shit. Like no matter how good of a defender that guy is, if that dude's tackle breaks like a 90, he's breaking the first 3 tackles. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and I think there's been a little bit too much put out there about the graphics of the game and all that at the moment. Like, I actually think the graphics aren't too bad. Like, I think they're a tiny bit of a step up than what we had in our last rugby league game, which, is for me decent enough, especially for a small indie studio. It's not EA, it's not 2K. I'm not expecting that. But I'm just excited to get rugby league game back up there and stream it on my channel and talk to you guys and just pack cards. That's what I would love to do.
The graphics don't matter, mate. Fortnite's the biggest game in the world, and that's like kids' graphics. So it's as simple as that. As long as the game is good and people love it, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters, Bella. Quickly jumping through the chat here. Ghost Slayer, I know you're pretty early on. Thank you so much for coming through, bro. We will be touching on a little bit of that spicy little stuff for State of Origin. We won't want to do it too much because me and Brody hate that media stuff, but there's going to be a little bit of chat around that for sure. It's one of the biggest news of the week. Shout out to everyone else in the chat. Lockie jumping in as well. They were the demo team, so that's why maybe Super League went that way. I'm guessing that's why Lockie was saying that. Okay.
Makes sense.
Chris has got Billy Slater at fullback, Michael Ennis at hooker, Munster at 6, and we'll
Josh Reynolds 7.
Jose, we can't expect Rockstar graphics. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Chris with
100%.
Rocket League as well. Yeah, Rocket League hasn't got the craziest graphics, but it's like the funnest game to play.
Exactly right.
Yeah, well, sweet. All right, continue to move on. TK Collective, what is your favorite Origin try of all time? I already got mine nailed down, brother, but who've you got? I know this is putting you on the spot.
Oh,
it's only just jumped into the chat now.
It's probably got to be the Billy Slater chip and chase.
Yeah, that's all time, bro. That's all time.
That one's pretty hard to go by. Or the game-winning Blues series, James Tedesco with Fergo down the sideline. Probably a forward pass in there, but hey, what's a forward pass these days? Yeah, probably one of those 2.
Yeah, mine's Darren Lockyer. That the pass from Hodgson from dummy half where it ended up bouncing the ground. Darren Lockyer picks it up and wins the game for the Maroons to start the big streak. So I think that's a big one because Darren Lockyer, bro, I love Darren Lockyer. Dylan here, he said, do not skip my comment, mate. Sorry, bro, we're still going through the show, but this is what you commented before, I'm guessing. Empty bookshelf, not a reputable source. I don't know. What do you mean? He's got books on his shelf, and I've got cards on my shelf, so... Yeah.
Oh, bro, I didn't know we were more worried about the background instead of what we're talking about, but...
Yeah.
Okay, brother.
Yeah, shout out, Dylan.
We will be skipping your comment from now on.
All right, brother. Let's get through the weekend that was, bro. Oh no, that just came out of nowhere, right? I was like, what is he talking about? I was only just cluing on just then. Shout out to you, Dylan. Shout out to you, Buzz.
Moving on.
Game of the weekend, bro. Was there any big performances that you stuck out to you over the weekend? That
Dolphins,
first we want to touch on. Yeah, Dolphins. 58-4, an amazing performance out there. We'll touch on team of the weeks and that, but what impressed you with the Dolphins? It's 3 weeks in a row now. They're just absolutely pulling on clinics and against somewhat decent sides too. So your thoughts there?
Yeah, like even though the Cowboys aren't the best team, we know that Cowboys team has a lot of points in them. I know they were missing a lot of stars as well. Don't get me wrong, but with the team with Scotty Drinkwater, Murray Tuolangi, still in there, that's 12 points there at least. And for the Dolphins to not only get the ball rolling attack wise, but defense wise, pretty outstanding. when you look at how many the Dolphins are missing as well from their forward pack, yeah, it's pretty scary how many points they can put on in a hurry. A lot of flair there, so it really stood out to me.
Some key stats in this game too. Run meters overall, 2,260 run meters there for the Dolphins in this one. 676 post contact, 11 line breaks to 2.
Jesus.
Is just ginormous. Crazy game there. Cody Nikoduma probably had the game of his life out there too. Isaiah Katoa continued to do what he's doing. And all with, Felice Kafusi getting sin bin in the 11th minute of this game as well. He is looking for a couple of weeks on the sideline from memory. I'm pretty sure he got done with
no surprise there.
So no surprise there, brother. Other games of the weekend that I, kind of caught my eye was the 28-8. The Titans beating the Manly Seagulls. I did not expect this. I'm pretty sure we both predicted a 13-plus Manly Seagulls performance out there. But Manly, bro, first of all, credit to the Gold Coast Titans, right? I thought they played a very good clinical game. I think they completed at over 80%, 90%, something like that, around that range. Scoring beautiful tries in the corners, Kieran Foran wheeling and dealing. But Manly, bro, coming in like that against an understrength Gold Coast Titans side that without Tino, mainly. Like, not expected at all, right?
No, it looks like, Turbo's still playing half done. And, well, it looks like a bit of a masterstroke for Billy to drop DCE now, because it just seems like he has slowed down a lot from what he was producing last year footy-wise to this year is just completely different. So I was a big believer in don't drop DCE. He's not the fault. Give him just a season at Origin to finish it out. But it's probably took a really knock to his confidence, I think, being dropped. And I expected a big bounce back from him and Manly and against a team like the Titans, maybe put a 20-plus scoreline on. But here we are talking about a Titans 13-plus win. So go figures.
Yeah, crazy. It's just crazy. Games like this pop up, and it could have gone a different way, right? If they pumped them by 50, everyone would be looking at Billy and be like, hey, what's the go here? But it's happened the other way. And it's not to say DC had a horrible game out there or was, just not pulling anything out there. But it just...
I think he actually did. I'm going to come out and say he did,
had a horrible game?
Yeah. Just there's no control there. You got Turbo out there for a reason. He wouldn't be putting his hand up if he wasn't at least, 60, 70%. And a lot of those backline players just... They weren't existing. They went to Tommy maybe twice on the backline play and got a line break out of one of them. Other than that, it was lead man, cut out to Garrick, drop Olakwatu under. Other side, Luke Brooks, lead man, show and go. It just wasn't flowing in attack. And I know that's hard to do with Turbo in and out the team all the time. Yep. But when he's there, you got to give him ball to create something. You got to force his hand to create something. That whole game, he just was kick returning only. And that's all we got to see from Turbo. And you can say that he looked half cooked. I believed he's still half cooked. But he didn't have really any opportunity to create something for his outside man.
Would you think that does this also, because me watching DC lately as well, how deep he's kind of trying to get into he's not really getting deep into the line and creating that outside, to that outside defense to kind of, hold on his line a little bit. Olakawatu going down with injury doesn't help him for the future of this as well. But I think there's a little bit on that as DC kind of playing too sideways in moments as well. I think that's maybe another thing why Billy probably was looking at more so Tommy Dearden, that usually is a run first type of player. They want to play front foot type of footy. Ches just at the moment, he for sure, I'm not counting him out because, over a period of time, if he's able to fix all this up, for sure, he's a great player. He's very, very experienced. But do you believe that his contract situation has anything to do with the form and just Manly at the moment?
100%. I think he's under a lot of pressure. He doesn't know where he's going yet next year still. I believe that. And he's playing it on the safe side of things because if he picks up an injury right now, he's definitely not getting that 1.1, 1.2 that he's chasing. And then how's he going to look crawling back to Manly to say, you know what, I'll take that 700K. So he really can't get injured right now. And that's probably why you're seeing him dish early, struggle to want to take the line on, stuff like that. I'm not an expert. I'm not saying that is what's going on, but me looking at it, that's probably playing a lot on it for sure. He's trying to manage the injury But he's not even doing that properly, in my opinion. His kicking game hasn't been really good at all. And that's normally one thing that I used to hate Cherry Evans for, is because his kicking game was so good at turning the tide when his team was under pressure.
100%.
I think that's definitely a lot that's going on, is his contract negotiations. He doesn't know where he is next year. He doesn't know what he's getting paid. And he's trying to just stay fit so that way he can get the best dollar value out there.
Yeah, 100%. I do feel like that's probably playing into his confidence at the moment, or his form at the moment. Is probably is thinking about the outside noise maybe a little bit too much, instead of focusing on the year that is of Manly Seagulls this year, which would have had very high hopes. I had high hopes for them this year. I thought they were a top 4 side. They are crumbling well below that standard right now. And changes are on the horizon from all the rumors out there. TDK. So sorry to screw it up. Collective. Lehigh to fullback and Turbo roaming center. That is the rumors going around out there that Turbo might be moving to center. Your thoughts on this move here? I kind of want to tie this into what I saw in the game over the weekend as well. Ruben Garrick kind of did get spotted on quite a numerous amount of times with Brian Kelly, and Brian Kelly can do that on his day too. He's out like to his center 1-on-1.
Yeah,
I thought that was the best attacking raid for the Titans to go to, and they were going to it more times than not on the weekend. Moving Garrick to the wing, Turbo to fill in that spot because he can't get through full games. He doesn't look fully fit right now. And then Lehigh Hopewadi going to fullback. Is that a move that you enjoy for the Manly Seagulls and for Tom Trbojević's future?
Right now, not the future for Turbo, but right now with his injury cloud, 100%. I like the centers. I don't like the wing for him. I like the centers because he's not wasted on kick returns.
Yep.
You know, we don't want him wasted on kick returns. Whether it's Lehigh or it's Kohler out the back, I don't mind either of those guys. Both of those have a lot to offer. They've both got really good acceleration. They both look great on the back line shape there. I've never been really big on Garrick at center, in all honesty. I always thought he was such a better winger. Not to the extent where it's like a Lomax, but I just thought he was more preferred to the wing. I thought he got through his meters a lot better. I felt like he was Manly looked better with him finishing tries on that right edge, as opposed to kind of getting broken down there at the center or wing. And that's not Garrick's fault. But also defensively, do we look at Garrick maybe being a bit off because DCE is a bit off? His defensive reads could be off, throwing Garrick off, but something's got to happen. I like the balls of Seabolt to make a move like this, and it possibly is a little bit of a trial to see if they can move on with Lehigh at fullback and let go of Turbo to another club. If that's the path we take, we know Turbo's under contract talks as well at this stage.
Yeah, agreed. And also, Manly on the bye this weekend. All the rumors coming out that Jason Saab's been dropped to New South Wales Cup for the weekend. I think that's good for him to build back up, if they do want him to get back into any sort of form. And there was another name that was getting thrown out there that's just completely blanked out of my mind.
Croker.
That is it. Yeah, Lockie Croker getting dropped down to Cup. And that's probably more so as a fitness sort of thing. I think he's only just returning from injury, had a major knee surgery or knee injury from the start of this year.
I don't know if it is. I think Manly have looked best when Jazz Tavanga starts at hooker and then moves to lock and Simpkin comes into hooker. So since Croker's been back, whether you call it his fitness or not, Manly haven't looked too good since he's been back. So I like that Seabold's searching for answers. I like that he's forcing his guys to prove themselves in Cup. For me, that's great. Earn your spot. We're not going to go off morals of last year. Next, I'm waiting for him to drop Cherry to Cup for a week. Go get your confidence up, mate.
Well, they got Joe Walsh and all that playing in Cup at the moment. You got Jake Arthur, but I probably wouldn't say that he would be the big halfback to take over. But if they come to that point, they come to that point. And the last question before we jump off of this and move to our team of the week, brother, is Seabold in trouble, you reckon, from Jose?
Judging off how quick and reactionary boards are to sack coaches more so than look at players, yes. But do I think he should be in trouble? No. I think he's been hard done by with Turbo in and out, as always. Jack Travojević just had a few head knocks this year, so he's been in and out. He's had Paseka injured most of the year. Now he's got Olakau'atu injured. I think he's got more reasons than some other coaches to not be performing. And I like that the ball's on him to make the move that he's making. I don't see him, in my opinion, being a coach that I would be sacking right now. But you know how the NRL is with that sort of stuff. But the coaches are first to go as if they're the ones missing tackles.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I had heard a little bit of the sentiment that Seabolt, like people blaming Seabolt for sort of Manly at the moment, what's going on there. But I kind of agree with you. There's a lot of things that are kind of intertwining right now, and this has all started since the where Desi Hasler and the Jersey Gate and everything that's kind of filtered from there. And I believe it's more of a higher up issue that he's kind of dealing with at the club as well. And he's kind of a lot of the mismanagement from the higher ups with the DC contract situation, how that's played out. It's just not helping his season. And as a head coach, it is tough, especially for a head coach like him that's been scrutinized for the media to kind of, pick a team up and continue to chug on. He's not a Wayne Bennett. He's still got a lot to grow as a coach. But give him more time. Give it. I think in the good moments he's been really, really good for Manly. I think anyway. Just give him another year. Jamal Fogarty comes next year as well. So I think give him a chance with another halfback that's not carrying a lot of media attention right now, and see how they go. A bit more consistency, as you said. Tommy Turbo in and out. Josh Alloy, as Jazz brought up as well. He's been gone. There's a lot of been chop and changing there too. So I don't think it's all up to Andrew Seabold and he's the reasoning for the losses at the moment. I think it's a combination of the media storm around him with DC, the head honchos at the Manly Seagulls just not helping him at all.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you. So who controls players' contracts? The board or the coach?
The board.
All right. And who is the main man in the team that has to get the team around the park and runs the team?
The halfback.
And the captain, right?
Yeah.
So how is a coach supposed to go on and get the best out of his players when the board's come out and said, we're not re-signing our halfback, who probably has missed a handful of games in the last 8 years. And yet here we are trying to re-sign, and this is not knocking Turbo. He's 100% the best player when he is fit. But we're going to try and re-sign Turbo, who's played maybe a handful of games a season.
Agreed.
And how do you expect Seabolt to, I don't know, get the best out of his players, get the best out of his captain and DCE when he's not getting a contract that he probably does deserve over, Turbo, who probably doesn't really deserve a contract that he's been on with how many games he's been available for the team. I don't know what more you expect the coach to do in that situation.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation. And again, not to bring up the Des Hasler situation because he hasn't been going that great at the Titans either. But, they started to fall apart in that moment there with the very experienced head coach that's been through a lot of these issues. They're continuing to fall down this sort of track. And Anthony Seabold, after coming from the Broncos job and how scrutinized he was in that moment, to come to Manly, I think he's got caught in a sort of a storm right now that I don't think is as bad as what people say he is. I think that's, the way I look at it, the Broncos have been a basket case from the top down, and he's gone to Manly's Eagles that, again, have been a basket case from the top down. So it's a bit tough to see the coach to change this thing around. Then again, also, maybe he should see another job. He could get a better board that could do a better job in that sort of sense, right? But I think, as I said, with players coming next season, I think give him another opportunity and to see what he's got against, especially with a more consistent squad over the season for
100%. And with no depth there, how do you drop DC for someone like Jake Arthurs? So
yeah,
what do you do?
100%. Yeah, what do you do, brother? What do you do? All right. Enough of the weekend that was, bro. Let's talk about the team of the week that we want to pick from that weekend that was.
Yes. So I'm going to quickly get out of my live chat, guys. So Ash will have to relay anything. But yeah, let's get started.
Chris is doing some big work to get Brad Arthur a job in the chat. Shout out to Chris O.
If Parramatta didn't want him, why the fuck would anybody else want him? I love Brad Arthur. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. All right, fullback of the week, brother. Who you got?
I went Jake Alvarado, brother. Just you could pick a handful of Dolphins players on the weekend.
Yep, 100%. I went Connor Tracy. I thought Connor Tracy was unbelievable as well. Jake Alvarado was incredible in that. I've got a couple of more Dolphins to talk about later on. So, but I wanted to go as Connor Tracy because, again, he's just somewhat a forgotten soul for a lot of people out there in the NRL world. But I thought he had an incredible game over the weekend.
Yeah, I can't complain with old CT.
No way, baby. No way. Wingers of the week.
I went with AKP and Jack Bostock.
Oh, nice. I went Jack Bostock. I don't think he can go anywhere further.
Nah, you can't.
4-piece feed bar, calling it out while he's scoring a try.
Yeah, that's tough. I like that.
And Asiani Qatar is the other one for me. Returning for the
Yeah.
Sharkies. I thought he had an incredible game out there.
Yeah, I think the Sharks have definitely missed him a lot. But their backline trouble continues now this week.
All right, moving over to centers of the week.
Herbie Farnworth, brother, and Jacob Carraz.
Yo, I gone Bronson Sherry. I thought he had an incredible game over the weekend, and Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, the doggy centers, both of them, bro, killer. But yeah, Carraz, effortless move from wing to center.
Yep. And Herbie just doing it week in, week out. He's
Yeah.
him and Critter got to be the ones for center of the year, right? For sure.
Oh yeah, and then you got Sherry that's not far behind. Yeah. Take your pick.
Take your pick. All right, halves of the week, bro. I think this one, there's some names here that should be here for sure.
Yeah, I went Cody Nicarima, without a doubt. And I went with Toby Sexton. I know that the rest of the game kind of got away from the Dogs, but the way he started that game, probably the best he's played with all his distractions he's got going on.
Clinical, especially, obviously, there's no secret. Lockie Galvin coming to the club and, they're fighting out for a halves jersey, especially with Matt Burton and that. I think Toby's kind of showing himself a little bit too to say, hey, like, I'm just as good, bro. Like, I'm doing my job. So shout out to him. I went Isaiah Qatar and Cody Nicolima. I thought, they were just so pivotal to the Dolphins win over the weekend. And Cody Nicolima, bro, just an all-time game over the weekend.
Yeah, I think you could probably just put in all 13 Dolphins from the weekend, to be honest. But
yeah, the weekend was like a tough watch for some of those games, bro. It really was.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our front rows of the week.
I went with AFB and I went with Francis Molo.
I love it, bro. I love it. I went with Fouquetti from the Roosters and Fanua Blake.
It was a beautiful try. He scored that guy. The fucking outstanding. The footwork, bro. Just shout out to the young man.
Yeah, for sure. Moving to number 9 of the week.
Jaden Brayley, brother. Absolute dominant performance there. Really proved the Sharks can play off their hooker, and they look so much better for it.
Blake Brayley?
Yeah, so did I say Jaden?
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Definitely not Jaden. Sorry.
The ex-Sharks hooker?
I shouldn't shit on him, but yeah, Blake Brayley, yeah.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Most underrated hooker in the competition for sure.
100%, bro. Yeah, if there wasn't Coruscant, Robson, Connor Watson, he'd definitely be Blues hooker.
Name your man, bro. Wade Egan should be in there too, Bella.
Yeah, true. Sorry.
All right, moving into the edge back rows of the week for you.
Wait, who was your hooker?
Blake Brayley. Yeah.
Oh, it was? Yeah, sweet.
I was right there with you.
I went with Nickora and Kickout, bro.
Yeah, nice. I like it. I went with Oren Keeley from the Dolphins. I thought he had an incredible crack over the weekend. And Brenton Nicola. I thought that he was unstoppable.
Yeah, you're just salty you traded Kickout out of Supercoach, eh?
Very much so. Why? How dare he do that to me?
The truth comes out.
Oh, man. Fuck that guy, bro. And 13 of the week, bros.
Kurt Donahue, brother.
I'm right there with you. Bro. And he, talking about Kurt Donahue, moving over to hit of the week, he won my hit of the week.
Yeah,
that shot he put on Kyle Labour. Oh my God.
Yeah. His one, bro, was massive. But for me, it was Tommy Salau on Philip Sami. And just because that had a backstory, Sami thought he was tough, taking Turbo over the sideline, spraying him. And then, bro, Tommy Talau, you've seen him in the background keeping receipts. Like, who was that? Oh, yeah, Sami. Bro, as soon as he got that ball, crunch. And kept him down as well. That's how you know it's a really good shot.
Hey, and, shout out to Jason Saab, moving to New South Wales Cup. That's what you do to save your wing spot there for the Manly Sea Eagles. You go out there and play with heart for sure.
Yeah, and you got to be careful in New South Wales Cup. Shout out to Cobbo, who got dropped on the weekend.
Yeah, and also shout out to Tain Tuapiki that got knocked out over the weekend in Cup.
Nah, that one was salty. That wasn't a good hit.
That was a horrible hit.
That was a horrible hit. I'm talking about a good hit of Cobbo getting whacked. Yeah, I know. Here you are. Shout out to Billy.
Oh my God. Incredible. Yeah, fucking hell. We'll get to that. All right, moving to the try of the week, bro.
Damien Cook, brother. Just the old legs. I think he stepped about 6 guys before he scored that beautiful solo try. Damien Cook for me, brother.
Turning back the clock there from old Damien Cook, bringing back the old doggies, Rabbitohs days.
Fucking quick off the mark, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a beach sprinter, they say.
Oh, fuck. I've heard about it for 10 years now.
All right, moving on. I got Fouquetti as well from the Roosters. I thought, yeah, just got to shout out to that big front row to move like that. Oh, my God. And
Yeah, the footwork.
did Supercoach give Teddy that try assist for that one too?
Yeah, they did, brother. Yep.
Thank you, Teddy.
Because when I was talking to you the other day, that's the try assist I was talking about. I forgot that he actually put the kick through as well.
Yeah, for the Wong try.
Yeah. So that's the try assist I was talking about.
That Wong try, yeah.
Oh, I'm happy with it. I'm not gonna lie.
You happy with it?
Good yeah.
Gotta let it play. Let it play. Player of the week.
Blake Brayley, brother.
Yo, I like it. I went Cody Nicolima. I thought just an incredible performance there. But Blake Brayley.
Yeah. Couldn't argue Cody Nicolima either, to be honest. But shout out to Blake Brayley for getting me a triple on Supercoach.
I love it. I love it. It's kind of feels similar to me, like the way I look at his performances too. I just want to quickly touch on this. But last week I was looking at, especially for my halfback of the week, I think it was last week or the week before, Jerome Hughes and Isaiah Katoa both had incredible performances. I think as an overall halfback performance, Isaiah Katoa was a better performer, but as a player performance, I had to go Jerome Hughes. I think very similar. Like I think Blake Brayley control over the game and what his impact was incredible. Cody Nicolima just had this quality of like the moments, right? Yeah.
Yep. I agree. I see where you're coming from there.
100%. And egg of the week, bro. You got the egg of the week, and I'm probably going to follow you in here.
It's Billy Slater, brother.
I want to defend my man so bad. Then, we were touching on this before we go into the stream, right? Like, my thoughts on this whole thing is, I thought that he was 100% correct in the way he was going to target the media and all that sort of stuff with the first thing he said. As soon as he went over the line of Paul Green, that's where I was like, oh, brother, you just undid all the great work you did in that whole sentence there. Like, you just undid it all, unfortunately.
Yeah, it just opens up a whole lot of doorways to how you've taken this, why you thought you needed to bring up Paul Green in this situation just for getting called a grub. Like, it's not that deep, and I get what he means by the media talk a lot of shit. I'm all there for it, but it wasn't needed. It's not needed. If you couldn't handle being called a grub by a guy that Gordon Tallis has come out and actually had some good comebacks to on, he finished his career in reserve grade, shit like that. You lost fucking every series of New South Wales that you played in, whatever it is, like. Why need to bring up Paul Green? He didn't do what he did due to being criticized by the media. And it just opens up doorways for what? So you can't talk bad about somebody's performance as a coach because you're worried what they might do. Like, that's just... You're paid to be able to deal with that stuff and handle that stuff professionally and not let it bother you. That's, players cop that all the time. And I'm sure Billy Slater sits there and critiques guys as well when he's on the media of Channel 9. It's your job. You're paid for your opinion, the good, the bad, the ugly. He just didn't need to do it.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I'm right there with you because a couple of weeks ago, I came out and my egg of the week was Adam O'Brien due to the comments of what he said for the Knights, right? And he walked it back on the day after, and I still went egg of the week because you went out there and said it, and you did say it in that moment, and you needed to obviously feel it for that. As I kind of touched on before, I thought that his response was so professional, so well done for all that point up until the comments of the older Maroons coach, which was obviously Paul Green and that. And obviously great to see he come out and he front-footed it. He spoke to Paul Green's missus, said sorry for the disrespect and stuff like that. And just listening to Billy and listening to, like, he comes across as just like, a bloke that, he speaks with his heart. Like, he talks very well in that sort of sense. And I think that he holds very good moral values in those areas. But in that one moment, he didn't need to overstep that line to stoop to a level of whatever was going on with the media. I would have, like, right there with you to the point of, like, whether you just don't say anything about it, don't let it bite you at all. Or if you're going to fight with it, should have just stayed with the sentence he said all the way up to before that, where he says, you're in a privileged position. You shouldn't be saying the certain things that you're saying if you are in the media, and just let it be that as it may, right? That's the way I would have took it, because you're taking the higher ground, right? You're not stooping to the level, as you say, Gordon Tallis had some great comebacks there, but if you want to stoop to the level and have those pity-patter arguments instead of focusing on an Origin game. 100%. And that's for
Yeah.
like casual fans, for the media that love that. But for me, as soon as it just brought into that other discussion, like I'm sure Aaron Woods didn't mean for that to even go down that track. Like he was
No.
never meaning to that. And that's what the whole reason is for it, is like now it's gone down that track, which is like, now it's kind of, yeah, it's getting real messy. So
it's about the rivalry is what Woodsy was trying to flare up. You know, a bit of last year with the Glass Houses comments, and that's what he was trying to flare up, was that sort of stuff of Origin. And yes, it's bullshit. And yes, Slater had a really good point on, you know, the media is full of shit, yada, yada, yada. But it cracked him. And that brings us to the title of the show of Under Pressure. Yes, Billy Slater is under pressure because you don't go and do that. Like, you've had a week to think about it and you come up with that. Like, you're dropping Paul Green's name in a situation where it has nothing to do with what Woodsy said.
Yeah.
You know, getting called a grub. Josh Reynolds lives by the name Grub.
Yeah,
he wears it on the chin. You know, Michael Innes used to wear it on the chin.
Yeah.
Everybody, nearly 90% of players that played Origin, especially back when he was playing, were grubs. They were all grubs in some form or way. When it came to putting on a Queensland or a New South Wales jersey, they were all grubs. You wear it. I can't believe it's rattled him that much, whether he's trying to, get the emotional support of his team, get them emotionally invested, whatever it is. Come on, like, there's better ways to do it. You should be emotionally invested from the whole Spencer thing and getting called weak for not kicking to him last game. You should be out there to prove a point this game and talking about that. Not that. That's
I know. And like, you know, we'll probably jump away from it very quickly because again, like, you know, when we talk about that situation as well, this is all due to respect and obviously rest peacefully to
100%.
Paul Green and stuff like that. But you know, this is kind of the reason why I do, like, I spoke to you before the show, and when I watch rugby league, I watch it for the sport side aspect of it. I love the numbers. I love watching teams strip teams apart. And of course, like, when you're at the game, you get emotional. You can have that banter between friends and stuff like that. But I've never enjoyed, like, you know, when people say, oh, Origin's kind of dead because of the media's not going crazy from both ends of the stick and it just doesn't rival everything up. I don't think it needs that for me. Like, I think the players do enough on the field to kind of show that in areas. And I thought that we didn't bring that to the table last week, which we should be bringing to the table this week, right? But like, I hate the whole narrative that the media have to, like, kind of, you know, spark fires to kind of, you know, have this, you know, I don't agree with that sort of chat. I hate the media doing this. I hate hearing Woodsy coming out this side. I hate hearing Gordon Tallis back it up on the other side. I think it just sounds salty, petty, like we're in primary school. I enjoy the game. I enjoy the purity, and I enjoyed both those guys just smashing each other out there on the football field, and not everyone in the media. I think it's pussy to talk shit outside of the media and just, you know, throw barbs and that when you're not on that football field. Even if you played on that football field, you're sitting from a desk in Triple M. You're sitting from other areas of it. Like, you're not out there anymore. Like, you know,
exactly.
Just enjoy the game. I understand
leave it to the players, you know, like, leave it to the players. It's like Chris here, you know, in the chat. I'm not going to bother retaliating to the sheep, you know, like, it's like Woods right now. This is what Billy Slater should have done, is not worry about, you know, the little cheerleaders on the sideline here of Chris and Parramatta that are sitting down the bottom nearly and watch their hopes and dreams go away like Mitchell Moses' calf muscle. But we're going to move on from that. But yeah, you're right, 100%. Leave it to the game. You're not a boxing match where you need to hype the fight to get the sales. It's not that. It's not MMA where you got to sell the fight with bad blood rivalries. You want to watch them punch each other's head off. That's not going to happen in Origin. It's just going to be big hits. The passion should already be there on, I don't want to lose to these motherfuckers. But, you know, here we go. So, yeah, the media they really do need to pipe down. And I do agree with Billy on that regard. But it never will. It never will, because you're right. You're paid for your opinion, and that's exactly what Bo Ryan said. And there's money in the opinion. And you're right. It's the casual fans that want to sit there and go, "Oh, did you see what they said on this channel? This is what they said about this," and that's where it just starts. And then 6,000 other journalists need to jump on it as well. So, Yeah, it is what it
Bro,
is.
I get all that out watching fucking Married at First Sight, bro. I don't need to get that out watching rugby league. So, you know, shout out to Ash watching Married at First Sight with his wife. We can
Yeah,
look out for
Love
all that
Island
drama.
can say Ash.
You know your boy love all that sort of shit on the outside, but I like my sport being sport and very purist. So yeah, we'll move on with that. And we may as well move over to the biggest game of the weekend and maybe the biggest game of the year, especially for the Blues to take out a series. If they do it now, it's going to be a big one. And for the Maroons here, on the cusp of maybe losing 4 straights in a row of Origin games, which hopefully does not happen. So just quickly, bro, guys.
Just quickly, do you really give Queensland game 1 last year, or is that just a write-off? And I think that's why Slater is feeling a lot more pressure.
I said this in the last preview, bro. That's the reason why I think there had to be big changes. Is there's been a lot of arguments between that game 1 as well and how it could have been maybe a 3-0. Then I'm gonna take it as a Queensland fan, bro. I take it as a win. I think that, you know, at the end of the day, before that send off, I thought that we had some nice moments there. But if we want to take it the other way and feel a lot of pressure, I think that's the reason why Billy is feeling the pressure, as you said. I really do.
100%. Hey, Chris, yeah, he's just trying to make sure that he's not related to any Parramatta supporters.
Shout out to Chris, though. And he's bitten. Brodie's come back. But yes, massive game coming up. And guys, if you already want to see any of our massive breakdown on State of Origin, that is on our previous live stream. Was it our last live stream or the live stream before that? I think it was our last one.
Last week.
Yeah, so go check that out if you want a more in-depth sort of breakdown. This is more just a summary of the game coming up, bro. Anything changed for you over the weekends, weeks coming? Obviously tonight's game. Anything changed for you? Any thoughts that popped in your head?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the changes of, you know, Carrigan to the bench and stuff like that happened after our show last week. I'm not a fan of Holmes.
No, we did speak about that last week.
We did? Okay, well, I don't think I really touched on the Holmes to center. I really don't like Holmes to center. I know that Stephen Crichton did a number on Hammer last week, but I still believe last year Hammer was a lot better defensively. Last year, yeah, I should say last year. Last year, Hammer was better defensively on Crichton than I think Holmes is going to be in this game. But changes to be made. We'll see what happens there.
I do agree with that one. Other than that, too, the other big news coming to this one, we didn't get to touch on because it happened after our live stream. Jerome Luai comes in for the injured Mitchell Moses as well. Your thoughts on that move there, too? We kind of did discuss, like, you know, the thoughts around, you know, when the New South Wales team name a squad, you know, it doesn't really mean anything when you can pick players outside of that squad. I agree. Like when it comes down to just seeing Matt Burton and Jerome Luai coming back into the squad, like you're going to pick Jerome Luai as in just a 6 and Matt Burton can cover many different positions and that sort of aspect. But when you start naming squads to the top to bottom and, you know, you're picking out names outside the squad to fill in positions, for me, that kind of just seems like, well, what's the use of naming all that squad when you can name really anyone on a day, right?
Yeah, that's the point. You know, we both bounced off each other is what is the point of naming a 22, 23, 24, whatever name squad they pick originally. And then as soon as you get an injury, even though you've got a player to cover that position, you're reaching outside of camp and calling out late moments. And then, you know, they need to look at doing something around either the 18th man still being able to play for their club that week before, or you pick somebody that's on the bye. So that way the 18th man isn't just sitting there getting paid their 30 grand, whatever it is, and their club has to do without them. You know, I think that's a little bit rough, especially where the competition gets closer and closer every year to every point where, you know, wins matter. Or they just need to simply look at doing a standalone weekend for Origin games. But either or, I think they need to sort out that situation of being able to drag guys in late. You should know what you need in your 22, 23, 24 man squad, whatever it is. And that's it. You're stuck with those players unless you get magically 6 injuries and you're struggling.
Yeah, then it's exemption time, right? Like, you know, teams deal with that outside of footy. But, like, you know, when you run out there with a squad and then you start picking boys outside of the squad to join the squad for injuries, when you have players there that you've picked there as well, like, you know, for me, it just like doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it works at the end of the day. I kind of agree with the sentiment of like maybe that whole standalone weekend and just playing like, you know, representative footy of like, you know, Toa Samoa versus Tonga. you know, having like a 3-game series of that as well, and having a rep weekend just mid-season, and like it kind of rests a little bit of boys, you know, for Clubland. Supercoach wise, we can rest Supercoach wise as well. I think it's all positive for us, I reckon.
I think so too, brother. Builds the game of the international game as well.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Anything? We may as well go score predictions and that. I know you're going to be swaying New South Wales way for sure. But yeah, how do you think this game is going to go? Do you think Queensland will fire any shots in this game, or do you think that New South Wales are going to go 13 plus? What a lot of people
I do think some shots will be fired on both ends. There'll be a lot of points, even though I'm hearing that it's wet in Perth. Yeah. I still think there'll be a fair few points on both ends, but I'm going to go a pretty close one. I'm going to go 24-18 to the Blues.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm going to go for a 20-14 Maroons victory. I think it'll be a fairly close game. I think that's changed a little bit from my first prediction from memory. I think I did a higher score line. But coming closer to the game, I do think it's going to be a real close one. And hopefully we can contend with those big middle forwards that just continue to roll forward, you know, Payne Haas's of the world. And that's why I kind of do agree a little bit with the bench sentiment, even though it does leave us a tiny bit light to start off the game. I think that we can kind of, you know, maybe hopefully negate that, and hopefully the Maroons equal up the series and bring this one back to Sydney for a decider, which just makes a lot of money for the NRL and all that. So yeah, we probably will go that way.
You're playing on that, are you? You're playing on the script. If this was dry, if this was a dry game, New South Wales 40-18.
Oh, bro. And we just don't have a great record in Perth at the moment either. So there's a lot of things going against our way, but hey, Queensland fashion, bro. Hopefully we can pull this one out of the fire right now.
Yeah. We'll see, brother. We'll see.
Shout out to the chat. And also, guys, I want to jump in as well. We're at 317 viewers right now, or views. We are currently on close to 40 concurrent viewers right now. It's one of our biggest shows at the moment. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please make sure you like and subscribe. Me and Brody do a weekly show here, and a couple of clips throw up on YouTube as well. So I just want a massive shout out.
Everyone's waiting for the game to kick off and look for something to do. I like it. I like it.
I love it. I love it. So appreciate you guys jumping in as well. But yeah, Queensland hopefully can come away with a victory type of series there, yeah?
Yeah, we'll see, brother.
All right. Thursday night, we also have the Queensland under-19s versus the New South Wales under-19s. We will get to the women's game straight after this as well too, guys. I didn't skip it. Don't worry about all those comments and that. But very excited to see this game. They don't have the team lists out there right now, which sucks because the team lists are incredible. But looking at the New South Wales squad, they have got Mitch Woods. They have got Rodwell. They've got a lot of really great talent coming from New South Wales. Queensland side of things, Sam Stevenson, a lot of great young talent. Do you know many of these? Obviously, you know Mitch Woods, bro. You're very excited to see how that plays out. I think that's Kobe Black for the Queensland side as well. So it should be a good little matchup there.
Yeah, for sure. Keen to see Mitch Woods in this one. Seen him play his first New South Wales Cup game the other day and absolutely killed it. And I love how Para's only got 100 fans.
You're biting on Chris tonight. I love it.
I got to keep the chat entertained, I guess.
Yeah, love it, love it. Yeah, I'm gonna go Queensland 1-12 at Sunshine Coast. I think it should be a good one. You know, yeah. If I had nothing to do, I would love to go down there. But yeah,
yeah, for sure.
What do you reckon?
Bo, take a flip of the coin. I'm gonna go the Blues. Mitchie Woods.
The women's squad is out there.
Briz Fugler in the chat.
Yeah, thank you for the view, Bella.
Yeah, thanks for coming through, brother. Yeah, clearly no talent because you're watching a live stream instead of doing one.
Have fun there, brother. Yeah, continue to enjoy. And shout out to Shady. Thank you so much, Buzz. Love the banter, mate. We love it, bro. We love it. The New South Wales under-19s versus the Queensland under-19s women's game, bro. A couple of big names I want to point out here, especially for the New South Wales side. Indy Bostock, I'm pretty sure she's related, maybe the sister. I'm pretty sure the sister to Jack Bostock.
You're guessing.
No, I'm pretty sure, bro. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
But the big one I want to touch on, and she's a massive name that I love. I watched her play for Samoa in the Pacific Championships, in the Women's Pacific Championships. Eva McEwen, bro, massive talent. I think she's going to be incredible for Newcastle. She's played a couple of games in NRLW last year. Tackle breaker. I think she's going to be a girl to watch in this game, guys. So make sure you circle her name. And the last one, Sal Ussel, in that number 17. She is.
Say that again.
Yes, Sal Ussel.
Okay.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Shout out to my pronunciation. Hopefully it comes down really well with you guys out there. But a very, very talented rugby player. She doesn't just play for I think she's signed for the Brisbane Broncos women's side, but she was signed for the Queensland Reds women's side as well. An absolute gun. So continue to watch out for her in this game here. But
For sure. And shout out to Jaleel as well. His cousins there in Jersey 19.
You're just throwing that out there, aren't you? You don't know.
No, 100%. Just ask him.
All right, Maroons 13 plus in this one.
No, I don't know. I don't know too much about this, to be honest. But look, I'm glad the women are getting the great exposure that the men do in their junior grades, and it just builds for the NRLW to be bigger in the future. They're expanding their comp by teams every couple of years. Doggies, Warriors coming in this year into the women. So the talent field and the talent pool to grab from is just going to get more and more exposure, and it just gives them pathways to grow into. So, yeah, shout out to the NRL for putting that on.
Yeah, shout out. And I'm very, very excited for the NRLW season coming up in the next coming weeks. We got preseason for that, I think, in this week coming and next week as well. So, guys, wherever you can view it, try to support the women's game as well. They are incredible players out there. Obviously, I know one personally, Varney, my wife's cousin. She's unfortunately down pregnant at the moment, so she
unfortunately that's not unfortunate, brother. That's a miracle.
Fortunately, unfortunate for rugby league fans out there, but fortunately for the family. So shout out to her, and hopefully Shannon Marto as well. So very, very excited for when they come back. But NRLW, New Zealand Warriors taking out the premiership this year.
Yeah, hopefully, brother. Wait, we'll get to watch that game, the women's doggies. See how they both go live. Shout out to Anthony in the chat, brother. Much appreciated, Bo. And everybody else.
Yeah, guys, you guys are incredible tonight. Again, one of our biggest shows, so we do appreciate it. Do stand around for Supercoach. If you guys are Supercoaches, leave your comments, your questions for our Supercoach. We'll quickly finish off with that when we finish off the weekend preview as well. Moving to the weekend preview, the West Tigers versus the Canberra Raiders at Campbelltown, brother. Luke Laulili is playing in the New South Wales under-19s, guys, so watch out for him as well. A big name for the West Tigers. A couple of other names, Makasini as well, is an incredible talent there too. But anyway, the West Tigers versus Raiders, bro. If all Origin players do back up, obviously you got Joseph Tarpanay, Josh Papali'i, Corey Horsburgh has been named even though he's not playing, in Origin. What are you thinking about this game here? Do you think the Canberra Raiders just continue on doing what they're doing? Do you think maybe the Tigers have a little bit of an edge here to come out over the top?
I'm sorry, brother, but you just named 3 guys that aren't even playing in Origin, let alone the 2 that are in Luai and Hudson Young.
I know. Struggling here, bros.
Look, I don't think Luai is going to play. I think he'll really want to play. But, with Luai's shoulder injuries that he's had previously, he's going to get a workout tonight. We know that. I think Hudson Young plays because he'll play limited minutes in Origin. But I think Luai will struggle to back up here. I think he'll really want to, and he'll push it to back up. But I think maybe we'll not see him. But hopefully he pulls up all right and he does back up. But for me, yeah, Canberra, bro. Canberra, 13 plus in this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. They're carrying Latu Fainu. Kane Weston, shout out to you, brother. I love it. I love to hear it. Obviously, a Tigers fan in there.
Yeah, chuck it on Sportsbet, brother. Let me know the odds.
Yeah, was the odds even just head-to-head there? $3.12. So can you imagine that?
I mean, I do like it at Campbelltown. I do like it.
And Canberra have been red hot, dead cat bounce, the Tigers could bounce here.
It's the one. What are you going with, brother?
I'm going to go Raiders 1-12 in this one. I think they can hold it to a closer margin there. But yeah, I'm going to go Raiders come out on top. I do agree with you with the sentiment though that Jerome Luai coming from Perth, with the shoulder injury is probably not going to back up there. And probably similar to Hudson Young, depending on how the Raiders want to go this year, if they want to get the top 2, that he probably will end up playing, but for limited minutes. So Kurt Fleming also, how good is Owen Paddy? Very, very good, brother. Very,
Oh,
very good.
killer.
Yeah. Future Maroon number 9 with Harry Grant, I reckon.
Yeah, I think Perth will be looking at him for sure.
Yeah, definitely open to discussions there. The New Zealand Warriors versing the Penrith Panthers at New Zealand at Go Media Stadium. Obviously, the big news in this one, no Origin players playing in this game. So, Kurt Capewell will be out. He'll be rested due to the long trip from Perth. For the Penrith Panthers, the team here, bro. Brian Toto, Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Yeo, Liam Martin, and Nathan Cleary will not be playing in this game. Not even named in reserves. So, no chance of those guys fitting in here. Your thoughts on this game?
For you, brother.
Amazing news for us. But, I'd love to see my boys just continue on their winning streak, whether they do it 1 to 12 or 13 plus. I think more are looking at this a 13 plus game. I just want to see a win in the column sheet after a bye.
It's interesting. Lindsay Smith is playing at this stage, and he's 19th man for the Blues. I know he's not playing tonight, but he's still got to make the same trip after tonight's game. So whether it's the Blues planning to get on the piss after a win, or just the fact that they have to play and then travel, and the downtime there to recover is not too good, you can understand why Cleary's taken the chance to not play these guys. But with that said, I like Tan's shout, Warriors 13 plus and Aaron Clark anytime. I'm literally going to tail that on Sportsbet. I really like that.
You ready on me, bro? Up the Waz, baby. Hopefully we get it done against the Penrith Panthers this weekend. Again, any team in this competition can be tough, but with all these outs, we should be able to get a win at home.
Is your boy on debut there in the centers?
Yeah, nah, he is not on debut. He's played a couple of games. Graham Tolfer, very, very talented kid. Played in New South Wales Cup as well. I think he's the tied third best try scorer in New South Wales Cup at the moment. Tackle break phenom.
Gotcha.
So very excited to see him back up in first grade. So up the Waz, baby. Hopefully continue on our little streak over the weekend.
Fuck yeah, bro. Hopefully.
All right, moving over to the Dolphins versus Newcastle Knights. They do not have to travel too far because they will be playing at HBF Park at Perth, which would probably, I'm guessing that's the home ground of the Perth Bears when they come into the competition. I don't think they're playing out at Optus, so.
Okay. I'm not too sure. They haven't announced that yet, but that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so pretty much all Origin names should be backing up in this one. Kalen Ponga is at fullback there. Hamiso is at fullback for the Dolphins.
Shady, come on, bro. How can you say that?
Shady with the 13 plus of the Knights, man. The attacking ability for your boys, I don't know about that, but
Tommy Young hat trick. Tell me, Tommy Young hat trick. Shady.
Getting back into the Newcastle Knights squad there, Dominic Young returns to Newcastle after his Roosters stint there too. Obviously playing against the Knights last week as well too. So
beating them.
We've been crazy. And shout out to TJ as well. A $5 super chat as well. Up the Waz and go the Blues. Thank you so much, TJ17, my brother. Guys,
what a legend.
Shout out. I'm going Dolphins by a margin here, bro.
Oh, I'm actually going Dolphins by the 12 in this one. I think the penny would slow a little bit, but they'll do enough to get the win.
You're probably on the right track there. Newcastle Knights defense has been solid this year. It's just attacking-wise, they are not putting up a fight. I think the Dolphins' attack has just been really slick at the moment. Isaiah Qatar and that. What they did over the weekend without Hamiso at back, with Hamiso and some of those moments too, I think that they could do some damage there too. So, but yeah, I can see it.
I'm going to roll the dice.
I love it. You put a bet on that, you reckon?
Yeah, I'll chuck $2 on it.
Gamble responsibly. All right, moving over to the Rabbitohs versus the Melbourne Storm at Accor Stadium. Names to back up here. Latrell Mitchell looks like he will be named to back up. Cody Walker has been named in reserves. Lewis Dodd has been named in that 6 jersey for now. We'll wait and see how that plays out. Melbourne Storm pretty much full strength by the looks of it here. Your thoughts on this game here? Do you think Melbourne continue on, or do you think the Rabbitohs bounce back after defeat last week?
Did Sullivan get dropped, or is he in the reserves?
I think he got injured last week from memory, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, Campbell, Graham, Keon still in the reserves there as well. Melbourne 13 plus for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Unfortunately, the Rabbits is bouncing off the Doggies game and coming straight into a Melbourne Storm team. So
yeah, that's a very unlucky run. They probably got Canberra next week as well or something.
The one thing I would say though, Latrell Mitchell against the Melbourne Storm usually causes a little bit of havoc though too. So
you're right. But
I'm going Melbourne.
100%.
All right, first game of the Sunday, we had the Brisbane Broncos versus the Cronulla Sharks at Suncorp Stadium. My brother, BRODIE, is out for the Sharkies, unfortunately injured. But coming in, we got Talakai, especially for Supercoach fans out there. A major in there for the Brisbane Broncos. Pretty much the same named as they were a couple of weeks back with the black jersey. And they won't be wearing that black jersey, guys. That was a week thing as well. Your thoughts on this game, bro? Broncos continue off what they built last week, or Sharks? This game can go many different ways, I reckon.
This one will, for me, would depend if the Broncos, Paddy Garrigan, Payne Haas back up. If they do, I'm going to go Broncos 1-12. If they don't, I'm going to go Sharks 1-12. I'm actually going to be going to this game as well. Break up the cycle of not watching any live footy. I'm going to take my partner to watch this game since she decided to go for the Broncos. What a fucking loser. But I'll be cheering for the Sharks in this one. Sharks 1-12.
Just because of that, bro, and just because I know your record going to watch, Suncorp Stadium games, and I'm going Broncos 13+. I'm just going to do it.
All right. I can see it.
But Sharkies at 266 as well. Could be a bit of value because, any team could really roll up and win this one, as we know from both these seasons so far. 266 is actually decent value for the Sharkies, I believe.
Yeah, especially if the Broncos players back up for sure. But if they don't, then that's great value. And Hosier, I think that is the game of the round, this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. There's points galore in that game if both teams will play to their strength. The Roosters go up against the Cowboys at Allianz Stadium. We got Angus Crichton, Connor Watson. Have they all been named? Yeah, they've been named in the squad. Connor Watson in there. Pretty much the Roosters are back to being the Roosters. The Cowboys.
It's Sunday, so
I think they're all going to. They all should back up. But also, guys, just continue to look out for the team list over the weekend if you are super coaches, just in case you don't get bitten by some
100%.
restings. But this game, bro, the Roosters or the Cowboys, what are you feeling? What's your flavor?
Roosters, bro, for this one. I'm going to go 1-12. I think the Cowboys will bounce back somewhat, but I think the Roosters will win this one.
I'm going to sway the way of the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys, very hot and cold team this year, as we know, on their day, especially, depending on if the Maroons come out with a victory and Tom Dearden's feeling himself, I can see a double backing.
He's going to be feeling his ribs, brother, to make sure they're all still there.
So I'm going to go to Cowboys 1-12 in this one. You're going to go to Roosters 1-12?
Yeah, Roosters 1-12.
I like it.
We'll split that one.
Yeah, it could go the opposite way. Rob Sawyer could have a blinder tonight as well and have a blinder against the Cowboys as well.
Yeah, Angus Crichton.
Let's not talk about any Blues players yet. All right, moving over. We got the Parramatta Eels versing the Gold Coast Titans, the last game of the weekend here, Combank Stadium. The Titans coming off their big win against the Manly Seagulls, the Parramatta Eels. Chris O, shout out to you in the chat. What do you feel about this contest? No Mitchell Moses, no Dylan Brown. As soon as you see those two names there, it's usually worry stations for Parramatta. Do you see that, right?
Yeah, it is. And this is not hating on Chris. This is just the Titans' performance last week. No real threat of Origin players not backing up. Tino's coming off the bench at this stage, and they're playing Sunday. And for me, Parramatta only have really looked good with Moses there. So with him out, let alone Dylan Brown out as well, I can't help but go the Titans. I'll go 1-12 though. I don't see them putting on a masterclass like they did last week, but I definitely see them winning this game 1-12.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Gold Coast Titans as well. I have a feeling this game could be just one of those watches, the
spoon bowl, as Jose just put it.
Yeah, shout out to Jose in the chat. I think he's hit the nail on the head. But yeah, I'm going to go Gold Coast in this one, but I can see it go many different ways here. So
I hope Joe Ash kills it, brother. I really do. I hope he does.
Me too. I love Bubble E, so it could be the future for him. Obviously, moving on from Dylan Brown.
Very, not according to Chris there.
Shout out to Chris. So loving it, brother. Get Ronald Volkman back in the halves, yeah? I know he loves Ronald Volkman.
Yeah,
don't you say any slander to him, bro. He's family, so don't you say any slander. All right, brother. Anything more you want to touch on before we move over to Supercoach?
Nah, that's it, I reckon, so far. We'll jump on to some Supercoach so we can go get a feed before the kickoff.
Yes, we shall.
Which is still 2 hours away because 8 o'clock is ridiculous. And I shouldn't complain because I know it's 10 in NZ or 11, whatever it is. So I feel you guys as well.
Yeah, shout out to the New Zealand fans that get Yeah, bro. Yeah, shall we not talk about it anymore? But guys, if you got any Supercoach questions, make sure you chuck them in now. We'll probably go for another, well, let's say 10 minutes or so. So let's smoke through our sides, yeah? All right. Jumping over to our league, guys. If you haven't jumped into our league, you know, I think that's the league code there. Anyway, jump in. It is our Down Unders League, so jump in and support. Shout out to Liam again, just continuing to kill it at the top of the competition. I'm gonna find your name here. How'd you feel like you went over the weekend? Very, very good. Obviously, 1,200 points in a bye weekend, bro. That's always good.
Yeah, I don't know how I did 1,217 this week when I did worse last week and I had a whole 17, 18. So I did better with 13 this week.
I love that.
Go figures.
Nah, very, very good weekend. I thought I was going to have a little bit of a downer weekend with Olakawatu and stuff like that, not going too well, but everyone else picked up the slack. James Tedesco with my captain as well. You went James Tedesco as well, so very, very good for both our teams here.
Yeah, it would have been better if it was Herbie, but hey, take what you're given.
Plus the Dolphins just absolutely killing it with Herbie and all that in our team. Just goes so gangbuster. Quickly on the players of the week, guys, before we jump over to our teams. As we touched on, Dolphins players sitting at the top there. Jack Bostock, Herbie Farnworth, Cody Nicolima. Do we go Jack Bostock? Guys, I would sway away from it. Do not chase the points. That's my thought there.
Yeah, if you wanted the increase of cash, potentially, but yeah, definitely sway away. I think maybe a Montoya, who's gotten a couple of hundreds in a row now, is probably a better option than Bostock.
In future, yeah. On the buy, obviously, but yeah, after the buy.
After the buy, no more buys for the doggies, and that left edge is humming at the moment for the doggies.
He's looking very good. Tallis Duncan with 113. Well done to him. A very good performance over the weekend as well. The try assist that he got probably helped him a lot there too. Viliami kick out, as you touched on before. Britton Nikita fires as well for Nikita fans out there. We've been waiting for a game like this from him. Sione Katoa, 107, getting it back there. Blake Brayley, 102. And James Tedesco almost at the 100 mark there, but good enough for our captaincy. 97 points there.
We'll take that.
All right, moving over to my Supercoach team for this weekend, guys. So sitting in my flex, I got Jaden Campbell. James Tedesco is going to be my captain at the moment. I'm liking the matchup with the Cowboys. I think it's going to be a decent matchup. I think it's going to be points galore there. So I went the way of the Cowboys, but I think James Tedesco will do a great job out there with some line breaks and tries and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm right there with you. He's sitting my captain at this stage as well.
Ryan Papanaz is sitting in my reserves. Everyone's pretty much set there. Sifa Talakai comes into my lineup there. I moved into my my wingers just because I like seeing Dylan Lucas there in my edge back row. It just makes my edge back row look a little bit stronger there as well.
Beat them up a little bit, bro. I like it.
For sure. Terrell May is going to be my vice captain this weekend. More of a safe play here. Probably the ability to go for hundreds as we've seen this year. But if I'm not happy with that, I'm just going to let James Tedesco roll through.
Yeah, yep. Your changes, your trades for the week, you haven't showed those?
My trade for the week, sorry, there was only one big trade for me. Eli Katoa out in for Hamole Olakawatu, obviously out with a shoulder injury, and that's pretty much me for the week. Not too many changes on my end.
Yeah, you're not thinking of something else to free you up some cash, anything like that?
Not at the moment.
You're pretty happy.
I'm pretty happy at the moment. I've got, I don't want to undo my changes there. It's 117,500 there in my salary. Definitely could be more if I was able to cash out with some players here. But a lot of players I'm looking at cashing out are either on the bye this week or injured. And I think I could let a week play out before I can kind of see the land. You know, you got the Karapanis of the world that got another week under their belt. I can probably just see the lay of the land first before I start making these moves.
Yeah, potentially downgrade a Horodi to him or something for some cash there. Yeah, I like it. Plans over the next few weeks, just holding trades, trying to hold some cash and getting prepared to really beef up your side for the run home once Origin's done.
Yeah, my trades are going to be more so points sort of plays. It's going to be, probably points differentials, those sort of things. I think all my cash gen is kind of worked out the way it has. I'm not looking down that way anymore unless it's just, cashing out on certain players that are holding a lot of cash. Just to move on some other ones. So I would be looking at moving for a fullback very shortly. So Adam Dewey will probably come to my flex and probably open up that option. Maybe Horodi will drop down. I'll put Dewey into my center wings for a little bit more cover. I got options there with Jules, which is very, very nice. Would be looking at after Origin, probably like Latrell Mitchell, Zach Lomax's for my CD dub, stuff like that. But again, that is just going to be how it plays out during the week, and I want to see form of these players before I bring them in. But that's the way I'm looking at the moment. It's more so points play than anything else.
Yeah, and your ideal trades amount left after Origin for just your ride home in case of injuries?
Yep. So I will be looking at bringing out, as I said before, either Adam doing that and going to Latrell Mitchell at the moment.
No, like trade numbers, like not trades that you have in mind, because you did just explain that. Like, how many ideally trades would you like to have left just riding home when you believe your team is pretty much set and you just got them there for injuries?
I think at the moment I've got 14 trades. I've just logged back into my account here just to check out.
You do have 14.
I have 14 trades. Yep. So I'll probably be looking at around 10, 9, 10 for the run home. I think that's probably where most people will be at. I've seen a lot of people go very early with their trades and probably sitting at probably 8s and stuff around this period. So I think that's probably the safest number for me. It's enough to, you still got to run home of at least another 10 games after round 17. So, you know, because 27 rounds. So I think a trade around is probably where it needs to be.
I like that. Yep. Well, that's cool. That's all I've got for you. Shout out to Jose in the chat, putting vice captain on Metcalf. And who is your vice captaincy option? Because I do like the captaincy shout on Metcalf, but you want to have that ability to double dip. And if you've got a good vice captain, then I like that move. And I love your trades, Harodi for Talakai and Harry Hayes for Farmworth. They're two great trades.
Great trades.
The Doggies will have Tupanua back soon as well, who will start eating a bit into Harry Hayes' minutes. And as for Lockie Galvin, I'm not thinking of him right now until he bunkers down a spot. But even with that said, the Doggies share the workload. It's never just one guy outscoring all the points.
And this one here from Tahi before we jump over to your team. Keon trained today. We kind of spoke about this a lot at work. And your thoughts on this? Because it first got rumored, I think it was 4 to 6 weeks that he was going to be recovering.
Yeah.
But now it's day to day from what's come to. And he has the chance to play this week. And he trained today, obviously, as Tahi said. So your thoughts on Keon? You're holding him. Like, your thoughts around that?
Yeah, if it was, I'm holding him. For me, even if it was 3 to 4 weeks, I'd be holding him. The Rabbits have another bye in that period anyway. It's the Origin period, unless you need the cash and need the extra cover by trading him out. By all means, I understand why people are trading him out. But if you're thinking long term for the run home, I would be holding him, especially now that it is day to day.
Yeah, and lastly too, so players like, let's say, a Zach Lomax, players like a Latrell Mitchell, players like a edge back rower for the Raiders. The name is slipping. Hudson Young. Yeah, that's probably why I forgot him before. Anyway, but continue on. Yeah, Hudson Young. Would you be going these guys before the last Origin game for the run home, or would you wait till after the Origin game before you bring these guys in? Because I know we kind of discussed this a couple of times at work.
For Lomax and Latrell, the guys that are playing big minutes in Origin and whole games, anything could happen. I would be waiting. If you wanted to go a little bit early on Hudson, I'm trying to tee that move up for next week. That means I will only have him for 1 week, and then he'll be out for Origin and the Raiders bye. If I've got the cover and believe that's the right move, I'll jump on him early, depending what his break even is as well after this weekend's game. If I could get him this weekend, I would. But him not playing too many minutes in Origin, I believe he's a good option to grab whenever you can. But yeah, for me, I'd be mostly trying to wait until after Origin, because you don't know if they back up from Origin and then they get like a 30, they're going to tank some cash. It's probably worth waiting. You don't know if injuries will happen, if their price is going to drop. Then you could get them at a cheaper rate.
All right, your thoughts? Move it over. Yeah, I'm right there with you, bro. There is the added risk, obviously, of, like, let's say Hudson Young. If you go too early playing Origin, gets injured in Origin, but I think there's that added risk when training and stuff like that anyway. So I like the point differential play to go early on Hudson Young in between Origin, as in the fact of, like, you know, he is the highest scoring edge back rower at the moment. Let's say if you get on him early, he gets 100 in between Origin. You know, those are, you know, what players are missing out on. You know, waiting for after Origin sort of thing. So there's that added benefit and that sort of side of things. I'm kind of very conservative in that sense, where I kind of let Origin play itself out and then I'll get my boys to run home. But I do see the opportunity for players to jump in early and get, you know, those added points in between.
Yep, 100%.
All right, moving over to your squad here, bro. Your trades in and out. So Eli Katoa and Talakai come in for Tamale and Ronaldo Mulatalo. Mulatalo has been one that you're contemplating in and out at the moment, all right?
Yeah. Yeah. The more I think about it, the top trade for me is locked in. The Talakai and Ronaldo trade isn't.
Yep.
Talakai, I'm not looking to hold for the rest of the season. It's more so the fact that Ronaldo's got a break even of 109. I'm worried he's going to tank some cash before I get to trade him out for a low max, which I'm going to be looking at targeting in the next few weeks. So I'm thinking about reversing this trade and just running Ronaldo just to save the trade and keep it up my sleeve and just make the one this week and just leave it up to the footy gods. But that's a little bit of a worry for me. But yes, I'm thinking about doing that as I've got, as you can see, 543K anyway. Reversing that trade is not going to affect me too much. I'll still have a bank load of cash there. And as you scroll down to my team, I'll talk you through a couple of the moves that I'm looking to make in a few weeks after we run through the squad.
All right, so moving over to the squad here, and with people saying also the amount of cash that he's carrying and the squad that he has, he's definitely going to be a big play. On the run home, there's a lot of good players that he can definitely target for the run home here, and he's got a lot of big players at the moment already. James Tedesco, Ryan Papenhuyzen, Tom Trbojevic is the one that unfortunately misses there. We'll have to wait and see, but your thoughts, obviously, rolling through your squad right now.
Yeah, look, I want to see one more game out of Turbo before I make my mind up. If he goes gangbusters and starts to look like old Turbo, he's just going to keep that spot. If he doesn't, I'll be looking at upgrading him after the Origin period.
Yep.
So that's my plan process there with Turbo.
Yep, at the moment, your centre wigs are Herbie Farnworth, Dylan Lucas, Billy Smith, and Sifa Talakai. Obviously, Karaz Garrick on the bye, Jack Bird there in the reserves, but Herbie Farnworth vice captain, first of all?
Yeah. Herbie, 100%. It's worth the risk as a vice captain there. Ride the try scoring streak,
Yep.
And just his base in general is massive. So I think that I'm going to stick with him as vice. They play nice and early as well. So pretty happy with that. Not too happy with, Billy Smith, Talakai, Bird there. I know Talakai will be in for a good week, but like I said, Ronaldo will probably be in like for like with him on scores. I might just reverse that trade and save the trade up my sleeve for potential down the line, as Talakai is probably only going to be a place getter at the moment, and then I'd be looking at upgrading somebody anyway. I might just reverse that one, but we'll see. But I'm not happy with that. I'm pretty light on there with Manly and Doggies on the bye.
Yeah, classic Supercoach. Hey, you make these decisions and you continue to look at it, and you change the decision that many times, right? I do it all the time.
Yeah, it's double-ended sword.
It really is. Cam Munster, Nico Hines, they're obviously hoping Cam Munster backs up as well, which I'm in the same boat there. Brendan Nikita, Tino, Eli Katoa, and Morgan Smitty's there in reserves as well.
Yeah, kick out Kolomatangi at this stage, not playing. So another two big guns that I'm down this week due to bye, and obviously Cleary not backing up. So a lot of my bench is depleted.
Yeah, it sucks. Terrell May, Payne Haas, Joseph Tarpanay, Brake Bailey, who's been unreal, obviously, for you this season. You have not looked any other way, and he's definitely come away with some good points for you. And Sandon Smith there in reserves.
Yeah, hopefully a better week out of Sandon. And to answer your question, Tans, yes, I am cheating the salary cap. Call me the Sydney Roosters. But that's the predicament I'm dealing with at this stage. I've just been a bit unlucky with the bye period this week. They really need to look at something with Supercoach. You know how they have the best 13 last week on the major bye week. They potentially need to look at doing that after Origin as well, because a lot of guys don't back up and there's still 3 teams on the bye. Yeah, it could be a really hard time for Supercoaches.
Yeah, 100%. And, as we touched on earlier, if there was any other different way they could do this Origin period, like a rep round and stuff like that, I think it just opens up Supercoach even more for these periods, because it is tough kind of wheeling and dealing. And many people have been bitten by their trades during this Origin buy period. Like, the Lee Hopewadi trade-ins that they've had. Fletcher Sharp's been pulled out from a game late. Tom Trbojevic, a lot of people jumped on that trade very early. Even like for me, I jumped on James Tedesco through this period. And through this period, he's only just fired on that recent game. Before that, I was kind of going, bro, I I didn't really need to jump on that trade at that moment. But
Mm.
if I didn't and he ended up going really well, I would have missed the boat there. So this is a risk and reward that comes with Supercoach.
Yeah, it is probably the best fullback option still, even though that hasn't been the best option for you. Like he hasn't gone as gangbusters as you like, but
Yeah.
Drinkwater hasn't really fired through this period. Edwards, Latrell, Turbo, they're all either they're in Origin or out. KP's out. Walsh has only just came back. Pappenhausen's had a lot of buys. So you're kind of screwed for fullback options there anyway. JC's come back firing for you, and that has been a good flex. But yeah, any interest in Drinkwater? Not at this stage. If he comes down a bit in price, once Cowboys are back to full strength, week in, week out, I'll probably potentially have interest in Drinkwater again. But Jackson Purdue moved to 5'8" has really hindered Drinkwater's scoring.
Agreed. I'm right there with you. I wouldn't be looking Scotty Drinkwater. I do see a couple of super coaches looking that way. I've been on him a couple of times already this year. Done really well for me in the period that I had him. But I'm moving on to looking into bigger, better pieces for the run home. We spoke about this, like Dylan Edwards, Latrell Mitchell, stuff like that for the run home. Those are the names that are going through my head right now. Scotty Drinkwater, unfortunately, I just don't see it at the moment with the Cowboys. I think they're very up and down. I want a consistent play, and maybe Dylan Edwards is the most consistent play for the run home. We spoke about this earlier too.
Yeah, and another one that people will need to probably start thinking about is Nico Hines to Jerome Hughes in around 18. The Sharks have the Broncos and then Melbourne in the next 2 weeks, and then a bye. Jerome Hughes no longer has a bye, and if he can start some form that we've seen from him last year, that's a really good upgrade.
100%. Anything more before we go? Jackson Purdue at 6 is how we thought CHT was going to go at 6, or Metcalf at 7. A little bit, like it's going to take time before he kind of fits into the side. But as Brady was touching on, you got two sort of running halves now. You don't really have that real structured half that's going to put Scotty Drinkwater into these spots and play off the back of those. They're going to play first through Purdue and stuff. And Edwards a good shout. Yeah, he's definitely a good shout. Just a consistent fullback. After Origin is probably the play for him for sure.
Yeah, definitely after Origin. He works himself to death. If he can get through Origin injury-free, Panthers are going to need a massive back end of the season to potentially play finals, and it will be on the back of his bald head.
Yeah, 100%. Anything more before you go, brother?
Nah, that's all I've got tonight, brother. I know you got to shoot off. I've got to get dinner cranking as well. Otherwise, I'll be in for a late one.
It's State of Origin time, guys. We're very excited. Hopefully, we return next week with some happy Maroons smiles here. But it's an uphill battle. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out tonight,
yeah? We will see. Keen for the game. Everybody enjoy and go the Blues.
All right, guys. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your weekend as well. And up the Maroons. Take it easy, guys. Up the Waz too, baby. Let's go.
Laters.
Laters.